So here we have the Python Quick-Reference Jupyter Notebook, and this is just a summary of all of the commands that we learned in our previous video. And this is just to help you if you need to remember something. So remember here, when we're going to assign values to variables, and there's different kinds of variables, that you have the variable name, then the equal sign, and then the variable value. Now I'm going to click this right here. Right before I click it, you see it says run cell, which I can do by clicking on the play, or I can select Control and Enter keys at the same time. And it says, the pop-up menu says cell has not been executed in this session. When I click it, watch this. Marching ants go around the circle. And that means that the cell is now executed. And now that it's done, a green check mark appears and and now the pop-up says cell executed since last change. And it says that I executed it. I'm Avery Leiter. Because if you are in a Jupyter Notebook, you can share it with friends, and different people can be working on different parts of the notebook at the same time. So that's why it identifies who it was. Now, nothing changed because in this, that is visible, because what happened is all of these values were just assigned to these variable names. Now let's look at strings. String 1 is named I am a string. String 2 is named I am also a string value. What's important here to note is that you can use either double quotations or single quotations to identify what is inside of your strings. Now, each string starts with the value 0 and ends with a value from this method called length, L-E-N, parentheses, str, close parentheses, -1. So the name of the string goes here where this str is, and then -1. So that's len is going to give you the length of the string -1. So how that works is, here is an example. Print the character at 0 of string 1 is, and then there's a comma to indicate what the next thing should be printed. String 1, bracket, 0, bracket, close parentheses. And that is what is going to be printed, the index value of string 1. Then the next print statement says, print the last character of string 1 is string 1, bracket, len for length, parentheses, the variable name string 1, -1, close bracket, close parentheses. And then here's another command. Print every character of string 1. And it's doing it in a for loop. For character in string 1, print character. For ch is just going to be, it could be I, it could be Z. But for character in string 1, print it. So here I'm going to go up here and run the cell. See, a cell has not been executed in this session. I'm going to click it. And now we have the answer. The character at 0 of string 1 is I. Remember, string 1 was I am a string. The last character of string 1 is G, and that is the G in string. And then here is the loop for ch in string 1, print ch, I space am space a space string. The spaces were also part of the string. Now, if we have multiple lines and we want to print the string exactly as we have written it, then we use 3 quotation marks. Either 3 double quotation marks or 3 single quotation marks. So if we want to print, I am the first line, comma, carriage return, tab, I am the second line, comma, carriage return, I am the third line. Exactly as that, not all together, and not in a loop. Then what we're going to do is use 3 quotation marks. And then here the command is print string 3. So that string 3 that's what its value is. And here, string with multiple lines, string 4. Three single quotes, first and second, 3 single quotes. And then we say print string 4. I'm going to select it. I am the first line, comma, tab. I am the second line, carriage return. I am the third line. And then here, first and second, see that little caret? Beforehand, that little greater than or equal to sign? You can see there it appeared as part of the string because special characters are also valid string characters. So the rest of these are kind of obvious. The arithmetic operators, basic operations for addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So here we have in the arithmetic operators, 13 is assigned to the variable A, 5 is assigned to the variable B. Then we have our print operations, and then we have our operators, plus, minus, multiply, and divide. And this is a division that gives us a float for an answer, which is a non-integer answer. And the reason we can tell that that is a non-integer, a float, is that it is a single /. If we look down here, the double / is integer division. And the modulus operator, which we use a % sign, will give us the remainder. So I'm going to click here for the remainder. It shows the modulus operation gives us 2, not 2.6 as in a single /. 2 / gives us an integer division. Modulus operator gives us the remainder. After that, A mod B. 5 goes into 13 2 times with 3 as a remainder. And here we have our exponents. So we have B. B times B is the same as B ** 2. B times B times B is B ** 3. B, for the square root of B, we have B ** 0.5. And I'll click that here. So you can see B is 5. And so you can see 5 times 5 squared is 25. 5 cubed is 125. The square root of B is 2.236067977499979. Now we have some objects, mostly lists, tuples, and dictionary. Here is a list. And if we want to print it, we just print it exactly as it appears. Here's a tuple. What here they have failed to remind you of is that you can change a list, you can append to a list, but a tuple you cannot, and you can also replace specific items in the list, but a tuple you cannot change. Here is a dictionary, and a dictionary is a key and value pair. So it's a key and a value pair. Here we're going to select it, and we have key and value pair. The name is one key, and that is the value. Surname is another key. Here's the value. Age is another key. And then you can print just one part of it. Here it was just selecting one key to be printed. And you can list other objects. That's a list of lists. This is a list of many lists. Here we also use an object, such as a list, a tuple, or in this case a dictionary, to figure out the length of a string, the size of a list, the size of a dictionary, can all be using the method len. 15 is the length of this name from the string. 4 is the length of this list. And my dictionary has 3 key value pairs, which are delimited by the colons in between them. So there's 3 items in that dictionary. Here we have 2 different kinds of loops. One is the while loop. I is assigned the value of 10, and while I is greater than 0, print I. And then each time you go through the loop, subtract 1 from printing I. So the first value of I will be 10. 10, 9, 8, it's going down by 1. I could change this right here to be 2. And what would happen? It would go down by 2s. For loop. For I in a range 10. This is interesting. These are different kinds of for loops. If you only have the word range and you have I, then that means I starts with the value 0. And it goes from 0 to the number in the range, minus 1. For range 10, 10 minus 1. So it goes up from 0 to 9. Now, if you start with if the word range then has a lower value or any value, and then a comma and then a second value, that means start at the first value, comma, end at the last value. The last value minus 1. So that will start at -5 and go to +5. And here we go looping through that range with 2 numbers. Now if we have 3 numbers separated by commas following the word range, that means iterate in increments of 4 in this case. Increments of 4. I could change it to increments of 5, and it would do it in increments of 5. Here we have a different kind of loop. The earlier loops all had parentheses, right when we had the word range, which is a method, and we had the parentheses saying what items we were inputting into the method. Here we have a for loop that is not using the special word range. Instead, we are iterating through the loop through items of a list. And we can tell that because we're using square brackets. Square brackets. So now if I click here to run cell, it starts with 3, then 8, then -5, then 11. It simply prints the items of the list without any -1s or subtracting from 1 or anything like that, because it's not a range. It's not the method. It's just iterating through the list. Here, we're going through the text string, Carandrau. So it's going to just print each item in the name, in that text string. It's iterating through the loop. So the for loop goes from I to string, colon, and then print I. The statement that's repeated is print I. Here we have a dictionary, and for the key is key, and its value is my dictionary key. And we will iterate through the list. Key is name, and its value is Aisha. Key is surname, its value is Carandrau. Key is age, and its value is 23. So for what happened here was we assigned these values under my dictionary, and then, which we can tell we have a dictionary because we have curly braces, and then the for command does the printing for us. Now we have conditionals for A in a range from 4 to 7. Now remember, when we start a loop with 7, then we will have it subtracted, 7 will be subtracted by 1. So the highest number digit will be 6. If A, which started out as 4, is less than 5, print A is less than 5. So here it is, 4 is less than 5. The next condition, A equal 5. That means exactly. If 5 is exactly A, print A is equal to 5. And that was what was printed. 5 is equal to 5. Else, which is how you end this if statement, else print A is greater than 5. 6 is greater than 5. Now we have our AND logical operator. I is assigned the value -3. J is assigned the value 4. If I is less than 0 and J is greater than 0, print I has minus sign negative and J has plus sign. Let's see if that prints. It did print. That means that it is correct. However, if this was not correct, then what would happen is that there would be no print statement. Nothing would happen. Here we have the logical operator OR, and the format is the same. We're just using the special word OR. Here it is, if I equal 2, as soon as you put the equal, that means exactly. If I is exactly 2 or J is exactly 2, print I or J is 2. And then it says quotation I, quotation J. Let's see what happens there. I or J is 2. Parentheses 2, comma 2. Close parentheses. Here is the logical operator for not. There's 2 ways to say not, and I'm going to cover not again in a moment. I is assigned the value 3. If not 2 equal to I, print I, comma, is not equal to 2. And then that comma is just what is part of the print command, so the comma won't be printed. We know that 3 is not 2, so 3 is not equal to 2. Operator equal to, that's equal. 2 equal signs. I is assigned the value -1. If I is equal to -1, print I is equal to -1. I is equal to -1. So what if I typed a 2 here and then I hit it? It disappears because it will only print if this statement is true. How about another not equal to? This is a different version. 4 is assigned the value I. If I, and then we have an exclamation mark with the equal, that exclamation mark is often called bang. Bang equal 3. If I is not 3, print I is not equal to 3. 4 is not equal to 3. Operator less than or equal to operates exactly the same way. If I is equal to 2, if 2 is less than or equal to 5, print I is less than or equal to 5. 2 is less than or equal to 5. And it's the same with the greater than. If I equals 5 and 5 is greater than 3, print it. 5 is greater than or equal to 3. Then here is just printing a double list. This is just a list of other lists. You remember that lists are identified by the brackets. These are lists, and you can print them all, and you can print a list in a new line by using a loop. For list in A, print list. See, A is composed of these 3 different loops. We can also concat lists by adding them together with a plus sign. And here we're adding them together. And we can concatenate them list 1 plus list 2 to print list 3. Or we can print list 4 by having list 4 being list 2 plus list 1. Appending a new element, again with lists you can do that. You can add 1 new element in addition to concatenating the list. You can just append it. Here we have the list, which is 0, 1, 2, and we can append 3, and then we can print it. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, and then we can do it one more time where we add, this is the concatenation 4. So this is 2 different ways to add a new element to the list. 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then here is a function defining some summation of integers, parentheses n. Summation is assigned the value 0. For integer in the range n plus 1, summation equals summation plus integer. Return summation. Print summation of integers 10, print summation of integers 20. So we're going to start with 0, and we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and we're going to continue until we get to the top value, summation of integer n, which would be 10 in 10 plus 1 instead of n minus 1, and then 20. So let's see what that comes up with. 55 and 2010. That's correct for summation of integer. Here we have a method called random range, rand range. And here is just to pick random numbers from a certain range. If we use 10 as rand range in our method, then that starts at 0 and ends with 9, 9 being n minus 1. If we have 2 digits, -9 and 10 separated by a comma, that means start at -9, the first character, and then end with the second character -1. So it'd be 10 minus 1 is 9. So pick a number between -9 and 9. If we have a rand range of 0 and 20, that means between 0 and 19, picked randomly from the list in increments of 3. So I'm going to hit here so we can see that we have where the numbers are picked. 3 is picked randomly from 0 and 9. -4 is picked randomly between -9 and 9. 6 is picked randomly from the list. And it shows the list, which we have here to identify it. Okay, so this completes a quick review of the Python Notebook 4 Quick Reference.